In this video, we're going to review books number 76 to 80 on the Robinson Curriculum book list. These books cover categories such as American history, literature, poetry, and yes, even theology. We're going to talk about it in this video, so let's get started. Hi there, my name is Karen, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to help families achieve sustainable and enjoyable homeschooling. And in case you're not aware, the Robinson Curriculum is such a great way to go about it because it truly is sustainable. It focuses on the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and it's a self-teaching methodology. So it is a no burnout zone for families, especially for parents. And the reading part focuses on classic literature and text. So it's really great, and especially if you enjoy books, if your kids enjoy books, this is such a great way to learning through living books. And in case your kids aren't that maybe strong readers, fluent readers, or you can't see them getting excited about books like this, I do have resources, and I'll leave them in the description down below, whether it's helping them become stronger readers or maybe bridging any gaps, or even I've had videos on how to get them excited about these books in particular. So I'll leave some resources in the description down below, but for now, let's jump into the book list. Book number 71 is The Pilgrims Progress by John Bunyan. It is said to be translated well over 200 languages. It's second only to the Bible when it comes to sales, which is crazy to me. And this was actually written, you might not know, by John Bunyan, who was in jail. He wrote this while he was in jail for preaching without a license. Didn't know you needed a license back then, but this was written in 1678. Let me double check that. Yes, 1678, which is a long time. I guess back then you needed a license to preach. It's a classic work of literature that provides insights into the Christian faith. It also teaches valuable lessons about perseverance, faith, and the dangers of sin. And one of the reasons why I think it's so popular, it's the style that it's written. It's very much a story. It's an allegory. This book is an allegory of the journey of a Christian pilgrim named Christian who travels from the city of destruction to the celestial city. This book is divided into 2 parts, with each part describing the different stages of Christian's journey. This book is a great example of how Christian faith can be portrayed in literature. The story is full of symbolism and metaphors, making it a timeless piece of literature. And to be honest, I have my personal kind of reservations when it comes to this book. I haven't finished it. I got more than halfway through. I think my only criticism is how difficult it makes a salvation sound, which it's not difficult. Narrow is the way, but not difficult. It's easy if you believe it's by grace through faith. But, I can see how just in general, the Christian life, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be, the easiest path to take in a lot of situations. So I can appreciate that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But of course, just when it comes to the writing style, the book itself, I can see why it's considered to be a masterpiece of Christian literature. Now, when it comes to RC, this book is under the category of literature, but also theology. There's not that many Christian theology books on the list, so parents that are kind of hesitant to purchase it because of that, there really aren't that many. Of course, the books all are great to read. They have great morals, great character, but as far as something kind of more overtly teaching the Christian faith, there's just a few theology books in there, and this is considered to be one of them. Book number 77 is book number 2, volume 2 of The Life of George Washington by Washington Irving. We mentioned volume 1. That was in the last video, so not too far apart. Here we are now with volume 2. This book covers all the major events that took place during the American Revolution, including the Battle of Bunker Hill, the Declaration of Independence, and the Battle of Yorktown. The book is written in a narrative style, which makes it really easy to read and understand. And fun fact, Washington Irving's Life of George Washington was the first full-length biography of George Washington and is still considered one of the best. And again, I'm sorry I don't have a physical copy to show you of this one. I haven't found a good reprint. So this one we just tend to either read on the Kindle or print a copy ourselves. Now, book number 78 is Poems by Rudyard Kipling. Rudy Kipling, this is of course under the category of poetry. Now, I had this book at one point, but unfortunately it didn't make the move, and I'm really bummed about that. This is not the first time that Rudy Kipling is mentioned in the RC book list. So if you want to go back to that first mention, I really dive into his life, which is really just fascinating. I will say one of my favorite books of his that is also on the RC book list is Just So Stories. And it's been mentioned in movies. If you ever saw Benjamin Button, you saw the grandma that was reading them a story. She was reading a Just So story from Rudy Kipling in that movie. Also, unfortunately, this got a little bent during the move, but it's absolutely my number one favorite poem. It's If by Rudy Kipling as well. I love this poem so much. And there's a great rendition, I think, of Michael Caine who reads it. It's one of my favorite like YouTube videos. So yeah, I am a fan of Rudy Kipling for sure. And another fun fact when it comes to this poem, in case you use Saxon math, I remember reading that John Saxon would write out from memory on a napkin this poem. Even later in his life, he still had this poem memorized. So it's a really good poem if you want to check it out. So Poems of Kipling, it's such a great addition. It provides a broad range of poetry that covers various topics and themes. It's also a classic work of literature and provides insights into the world of poetry. And fun fact, Rudyard Kipling was the youngest ever recipient of the Nobel Prize in Literature, which he won in 1907 at the age of 41. His most famous books, though, are The Jungle Book, which is also on the RC book list, and Kim, which I believe is also later on in the list. I'm not sure about that, but I think it is. Book number 79 is the McGuffeys Sixth Reader. You might not be aware that yes, it goes all the way up to the sixth reader, because when you purchase just a standard set like this is the originals, but I think it's the same with the eclectic series as well. It only goes up to the fourth reader. We have pictorial, first, second, third, the speller, but the fourth. So when you buy a set like this, it only goes up to the fourth. I had to purchase separately the fifth one. Don't think that it's like the first or second reader. It gets a lot more challenging. However, I haven't been able to find the sixth reader. So again, this is something that we just either have to print it or view it on a Kindle. Now, of course, the sixth reader falls under the category of literature when it comes to the RC book list. It's a collection of classic literature that provides students with a broad range of reading material. It includes poems, essays, and speeches from famous authors and historical figures, making it a valuable resource for anyone that's interested in classical literature and history too. Fun fact, the McGuffeys readers were used in American schools for over a century, with over, get this, 120 million copies sold. The sixth reader includes selections from classic authors such as Shakespeare, Milton, and Emerson, making it an essential addition to any homeschooling curriculum. Shakespeare and Milton are later on the book list as well, so this is a great way to kind of get them ready for that. And of course, if you've seen or read the Little House on the Prairie books, you'll know that this is what they used in that one-room schoolhouse. Now, I favor the originals over the eclectic because, of course, there's always some sort of controversy. Based on my research, I read that McGuffey did not authorize or did not want that revision, the eclectic versions, because again, from my understanding and research, they tried to make it a bit more secular and remove the religious things about the originals. So that's why I favor the originals. But look, sometimes I have to get the eclectic as well. This is still great. This is the 1879 edition. So I still recommend the eclectic series if that's all you can find. There's still quite a literary treasure. And now book number 80 is, yep, you guessed it, Volume 3 of The Life of George Washington by Washington. Here we are now at Volume 3, but I like how they didn't just assign them one after another. They get a little break and they read other things, literature, poetry, and now we're back into the biography. So the third volume covers the last years of George Washington's life, including his retirement and death. It was written by Washington Irving, who was chosen by Washington's nephew to write the biography, as he had access to personal papers and letters that had not yet been published. I hope you found this video informative and maybe inspire you to add some classic literature to your current reading list. And if you're interested in learning more about the Robinson curriculum, I have a free 13-part video series covering everything from A to Z, so I will link it down below where you can access it. Now, I think you would really like the series, the whole playlist. I'll link it up here, but YouTube's algorithm thinks you would like this video instead. So whichever one you choose, I will see you there. Bye for now.